Good morning. Tuesday, April 9th, Clam Day. All our workers, Clam night tonight. We have, I think, 3 more clams, regular clams, and then we have our awards the last Tuesday in April, and then we have our skating party first Tuesday in May, and then we're done with clam for a while. So be praying for our kids tonight. Pray for safety for their vans that pick up the kids, buses, and pray for safety and tender hearts. So it is Tuesday. So looking like it is going to be a beautiful day today. Thank you, Lord. Also, update on Sherry Gould. I got a report this morning that her kidneys actually started functioning a little on her own last night. So they still have not done the dialysis. They were going to do a dialysis yesterday. Her numbers had gone up, but then they dropped again. Said they're afraid to do it. They said that with her condition, how critical it is that dialysis could send her into a tailspin. So they have to get some numbers up in order to do that. And some of those numbers came up on her own last night, sounds like. So as her daughter said, she's hanging on by a thread. So just pray that her kidneys would start working and that God would work a miracle here, and just ask God to do something special in Sherry's life. Pray for Guy. Obviously, he's right there. Did sound like maybe he got a little bit of sleep last night, but so you pray for Sherry Gould if you can. And you're right, Joyce, God can. And we trust him to do something here and restore her life. And we'll have Miracle Joe, we'll have Miracle Michael, and we can have Miracle Sherry. So anyway, you keep praying. Keep praying for her. I know that she needs that. So also, I know that some of you aren't in our church family, so you just have to bear with me on this. You guys all know Tammy Garrett. She always sits up front. Tammy got booted out of her HUD housing here a little over a week ago. She didn't pay her rent for several months. They took her to court. She ended up, by a judge, she had to get out. We had people in the church trying to help her get, signed up with some other programs. She continuously lied about it, didn't do anything, and then she got put out on her ear. So I went over, put all of her stuff in my horse trailer that she had, and our church put her in a motel for 8 days, and in that time, trying to get her to get on some programs. She didn't do anything. And so we went to her. We actually did a week in the motel. She then paid for one night herself. Then she got, I think, someone else to pay a night. Anyway, we went over there a day before yesterday. And we talked to her. We talked to her family. Her mom lives in Detroit. We told her, we'll put you in the motel tonight, but we're putting you on a bus tomorrow morning. And that was yesterday morning. And we bought her a ticket to go to Detroit to her family. She promised me that she would go to see her mom and get help. And, look, this is a family responsibility here. And I made her promise me. She looked me in the eye. She said, yes, I will go to Detroit and I will talk to mom. And well, she lied. And so she got off the bus in Omaha last night, and now she's calling people that she has in her phone. She's calling people in our church family and wanting money. And can I tell you something? She has been given all that she needs to be given. And we have been far more than the Good Samaritan in this whole thing. And if you get contacted by her, my suggestion is tell her you need to call your mom and you need to get help from your family because our church is done. We cannot help you anymore. We will not help you anymore. And I don't know everybody's feelings on that, but we have gone way out of our way. I had no idea that she has been taking money from people from the church since she's come back, the last couple of years. And people have been giving her things, and then anyway, so this is on her, and I'm sorry for what's going on there, but Alicia, her name is Tammy Garrett. She always sits up front, and she has been coming for a couple of years. She moved back into the area. Anyway, that's it. I just want that out there for our church family. Sorry for those. Yeah, Susan, I'm telling you, be careful, okay? We have bent over backwards for her to help her. And her mom used to live here, Carolee. She used to live here also. And so anyway, so that's what's going on. If she contacts you, you can send her to me, but I just would not help her anymore. She's going to have to figure things out, and her family needs to step up. It's a family issue, and family needs to help the family, not us. We're done with this. So anyway, that's enough of that. But this is an easy way to get that word out. I'll share it with those on Wednesday night also. But I know she's contacting people in the church. I've been informed of that. And I just would not be doing that. So anyway, and now you know what our church has done. And that came through the deacons. And so don't get all bent out of shape because Pastor did it. We sit down and decided this together. So anyway, that's what's going on. All right. Let me see here. It's Tammy Garrett. Samantha sits up front. So, all right. I got to share this too. And I know you probably get tired of this. The Fort Morgan Times is such a hack. It's such a liberal hack anymore. And I have the app on my phone. If it ever costs me anything, I will stop using it. I absolutely, positively refuse to give them one dime of my money. They are, so they put in an article, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, that the Republicans are already causing doubt in the election process. And so it's all a blame of the Republicans, right? So now if the Republicans Party does win out of some, I don't know, major miracle, it will be because they've sabotaged the election process. So they had that one, but one that far more is more dangerous, it seems to me, is they have an article on the use of water in Colorado. I don't know if anyone else read this article yet or not, but it was talking about where all of the water goes in the state of Colorado, and they're all concerned because Lake Powell and Lake Mead are just a third full. Well, okay, you live in the desert in California, and you live in the desert in Nevada, and you guys all got to have your little green yards and all the mess that you have there, and you're gluttons on water, and so learn to deal with it. You live in a desert, okay? Act like it. But here's the issue: is they came out and they said a huge amount, like 50% of the water that is used, is for agricultural. However, get this though, the part that they're attacking, the farming, they said majority of that water goes to grow crops for dairy and for beef cows. Look, they want us to eat bugs, and they want us to go to a complete vegan diet, okay? I'm telling you, Polis's buddy that he lives with, he's as vile as can be, and he is definitely a radical when it comes to the veganism. And here they are, the attack. Read the article. You don't have to just take me for it. Go to Fort Morgan Times and read the article about how we are going to have to figure out how to use less water. And the problem and the only problem they point out is that we're growing crops for dairy and for beef. And so the insinuation is quit eating or drinking both, okay? We don't need dairy and we don't need meat. And so rather, we need to go around, we need to chew on bark, smoke leaves, and hug the trees. I'm telling you, they have lost their blooming minds. And then the state of Washington has the very gun control laws that these communists here in our state are trying to pass, and they have been deemed unconstitutional in the state of Washington, and they are still going to push them upon us. And you would hope that the judges then will say, it's unconstitutional, people. And so leave the American people alone and leave the people in Colorado alone. And they are trying to disarm us. They're trying to take away the dairies, and they're trying to kill all the beef cows. And they're saying that another big reason that we have such low water, have such a water shortage, is because of evaporation now has gotten greater because of global warming. And this is in the Fort Morgan Times. Fort Morgan, who are these liberal hacks that are writing for the Fort Morgan Times? They should not have one single publication being sent out in this county. Oh man. The promotion of the lies and the untruths just continue to show us that Satan may have the megaphone here, but God has control, and let us always remember that. And it just amazing to me that the lies that we hear, even from our own local newspapers, such a liberal hack that they are. I cannot stand the Fort Morgan Times. And so, global warming. So because of global warming, we need to save water by not drinking milk and not eating beef. And besides that, take away all your guns so that when we come and kill all your cows, there's nothing you can do about it. All right. Anyway, you know what though? I still love where we live. I love it here. I love Eastern Colorado. I love the people. I love I love the weather here for the most part. The wind I can live without, but it's a great place to live. It's been a conservative place to live, and a wonderful place for our kids to grow up, and it's been a great place to minister, and I love our people, and we just need to continue to stand for the truth, and let's don't let them chase us off. All right. Anyway, and that reminds me, I was reading in Deuteronomy 33 today. Moses dies here in chapter 34. We'll see that tomorrow, but right before he dies, he goes out and he blesses all of the nations of Israel and says positive things about them. And then he says this in verse 29, last verse of chapter 33 of Deuteronomy. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people, saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help. And who is the sword of thy excellency? and thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. You know, the thing about this, the last few chapters here, Moses has prepared them for his death. And he warned them of being stiff-necked and those things. But, you know, the thing that I saw in this, in all these 40 years of stress, aggravation, I mean, there were times where he was incredibly angry at them. But you know what? Moses still loved them. And first of all, God loved them, and then Moses loved them. And it just reminded me that, guys, we need to figure out how to, and I believe first and foremost, it's got to start in our church family. We have to learn how to love each other. And we have people who leave our church over petty things. And someone doesn't believe me. You know, he said I was crazy, but it really does feel like when someone leaves the church, it's like a divorce. And they're like, oh, you've never been through a divorce. You have no idea. Well, yeah, I do. I do have an idea. I've counseled enough, and I know the emotions that go through that. And I know that when our church family has invested hours and days and months and years in someone, and then they just turn their back on you, that's hard. It is. It's just like you were divorced and they walk away, and those things are incredibly hard, and that's why many people get out of the ministry. They can't handle the hurt of that, but you know, here's the thing: we have to get through the pettiness, and we have to learn how to love each other through it all. And it starts with the pastor loving the people, and I think there's a lot of times the pastor just doesn't love the people, and he's just there because he's in, maybe, I'm in the ministry, I got to do this, and there's no love put into it, and so there's no love reciprocated. I don't know what it could be. The pastor might be so caught up in all of his hobbies that he has no time to pastor like he should. There's no time to cultivate love in the people or whatever, but we have to cultivate that, and we have to keep working on that. Look, the church we have is full of diversity. I mean, there's all kinds of people there that have come from all kinds of backgrounds. And, the one commonality that we have is Jesus. And we need to allow Jesus to help us with that, to love each other the way that we ought to. And then we need to love our community enough that we're telling them about Jesus and continuously going out and letting them know about the goodness of God, and just keep doing that. And it reminds me too, God will use anyone that's available and willing, and he will help you with that. This is reminds me in Luke 78. I was reading this, the last part of 78, in verse 68. Here he says, "But God chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion, which he loved, and he built his sanctuary like high palaces, like the earth which he hath established forever. He chose David, also his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. From following the ewes, great with young, he brought him to feed Jacob his people and Israel his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart, and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands." I just wrote this in my journal, from the pasture to the palace. God took a tender-hearted man and young man and worked in his heart and let him go through some trials to develop and mature his faith and his obedience. But he used him to become a king of Israel, probably the greatest king of Israel. And where did he start? He started out as a shepherd. So don't diminish your abilities and think, man, I don't have anything I can offer God. Yes, you do. If you have a willing attitude and you are available to allow God to use you, God will use you. And and make sure you're a clean vessel. Get things out of your life that need to be out of there, and confess that to God. Get it right. First of all, make sure you're saved. And then secondly, make sure you're right with God. And when you do that, then God will use you, and be willing to let God use you, right? And here's another way how he can use you. In Proverbs 12, verse 25, heaviness in the heart of man maketh it to stoop. Boy, isn't that the truth? We got a lot of heavy hearts, yesterday. But then it says, but a good word maketh it glad. Yesterday, we're over there in the waiting room, and talking to the Goulds, and because ICU, there's going to only be a few back there at a time. You guys understand all how that goes, and so we're out there. But I was up there day before. I was there yet a Sunday afternoon, and there's another family that's sitting up there, and they have a gentleman that's in the ICU also, and pretty serious, it sounds like. Obviously it is. He's in the ICU. And I saw them Sunday, and my heart kind of went out to them, and then I went in and saw Sherry and prayed with Guy and his daughters, and came back out, sat down, and I'm just sitting there watching this other family, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go over and talk to them. So I just went over there and told them who I was, and asked them if they'd like for me to pray with them. Gave them the opportunity to tell me no, that would be great. And so I prayed for this man, and it was amazing what God does when you do something like that. You could see, it just seemed like there was a little bit of heaviness taken off of them. And one lady came up and shook my hand and thanked me, and several others, but it wasn't about me. It's just about a kind word. You know what I found? I found very few people will reject you if you know that they're hurting, and you go up to them and say, hey, you know what? I'll pray for you if you want me to, and give them the option. If they don't want you to, you walk away. But we just need to be kinder in our world today, and it needs to start with Christians, and we need to do the right thing. And I know the politics can. I think we need to stand up and point out the lies that are there. That's exactly what I'm doing. But you know what? We can still be kind to each other, and especially as it says here, heaviness in the heart of man maketh it to stoop. There are a lot of people with heartaches out there, and God can use that to lift them up, and boy, how we should. And so let us be kind and considerate to others around us, and let's stand according to that. So anyway, I think I'm just going to end right there. I ranted a little too long. I apologize. But it's a hard world, and when people make bad decisions, it's even harder. And sometimes people just are going to have to have to learn some of these things by making bad decisions. You can tell people not to do something, and they're going to do it anyway, and you have to let them go through it, and you can still love them and pray for them. And I want to do that. I want to stand for what's right. I want to stand for what the Bible says, and be faithful to that. And if I offend people for that, well, I'm sorry. That's just too bad. They're just going to be offended. But let's try to be kind today. Let's get out there and do something for God. If you're part of QAM, come on out tonight with a prepared heart, and praying for these kids. We're down to the last few weeks of this, and want them to, first of all, know Christ as their Savior, and then to help them grow as these young kids, and give them such a head start in life. So it's Tuesday, guys, and thank you again for all the birthday wishes yesterday. Holy cow. I couldn't stay up with it all. But I really do appreciate everyone that reached out through text, messaging, Facebook, whatever, the cards, food. Everything has just been so appreciated. So God bless you guys. Let's have a great day. Pray for you, and you pray for each other, and let's just make sure we finish well. God bless you guys.